أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين شفيع ذنوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا وحبيب قلوبنا أبي القاسم محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين وأصحابه المنتجبين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى قيام يوم الدين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. أما بعد، السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Looking at the Quran, it becomes clear that the life of this world is a journey. It makes it very clear in the verses such as إِنَّكَ كَادِحٌ إِلَى رَبِّكَ كَدْحًا فَمُلَاقِي, that O human, O man, or O humanity, you are being driven to your Lord in a way that you shall indeed meet with Him. Again, verses such as Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, that we are Allah's and at every instance our return is to Allah. Again, the literature that we have aside from the Quran, such as the narrations from the Blessed Prophet, they make it quite clear that this world is a stopover, or it is a farm where we sow the beautiful seed and then we reap the harvest in the hereafter, or that it is a shadow under which we rest for a moment and then we go onwards. So this life is described as a journey. But in addition to it being described as a journey, it is described as a journey in which we become eligible for the meeting with God. And this eligibility is only in us arriving at the fullness of our potential, whether that be satisfying our intellectual journeys or refining our morals or aligning ourselves spiritually. Now, in this regard, the Quran is extremely emphatic about human beings calmly observing nature, looking at the heavens above, looking at previous races and tribes and people who have come and gone. The intention here is so that we may become more wholesome beings with a proper understanding of what is happening in life, to become endowed with knowledge, which then brings about insight within our souls and brings us to that wholesome state of existence. Unfortunately, life in the way that we are leading it does not leave us much time to step back and to reflect. But this has always been the intention of giving us this journey, that we actually step back and we look into things carefully and we reflect and we contemplate and begin to appreciate what is here. For example, the references that are made to looking at the heavens and trying to understand what is happening. If we now take the time out and maybe start reading about astronomy, cosmology, and see exactly what is out there, it will dawn upon us that the creative ability of God is so well beyond anything that we have considered God to be. Immediately it will broaden our understanding and appreciation of what God is. And it will humble us in an intellectual way. And at that point, it will refine us in the way we behave, in the way we think, in the way we look towards others, and in the way we lead our lives. It will be a very humbling experience, and an experience in which we begin to appreciate God's handiwork. If we could understand the galaxy clusters and that all that we know from the universe is what we can observe, and at most our understanding of the universe is based on conjectures, conjectures. And if some more components of knowledge were to dawn upon us, we will see that it is nothing like we can understand. It's ineffable in itself. It is phenomenally grand. It will then enforce upon us that there is something grand going on. Life is to be led meaningfully. We would not be as concerned in the mundane aspects of life that preoccupy us so fully, but instead we would be initiated into the inquiry of appreciation, the majesty of what is there, the grandness of God, and the real purpose of life that exists in life. Similarly, when we look at nature and the life around us, we will be filled with awe and appreciation at the beauty, the precision, the meticulous working of nature. This again will emphasize to us that nature is alive to herself. She is a living being, and that this life is the life of none other than its author. In this way, we will begin to lead a life that is a substantive life, a life with God. And we will understand that indeed, at every instance we are returning to God, and that was the actual purpose of life. At every breath to observe the beauty of what is out there, what God has created, to ignite this passion within us, to discover, to appreciate. Imagine if somebody finds a God who is as beautiful. Do you think they would be concerned with mundane aspects of life anymore? With the gains and the losses of life? With the victories and the defeats of life? Their minds will be somewhere else altogether, as Ali Salamullah alayhi says, Sahibu dunya bi abdanihim. These are the people who are in the world with their bodies. وَقُلُوبُهُمْ مُعَلَّقَةٌ بِمَلَئِ الْأَعْلَى, whilst their souls are attached with the lofty realms. The Quran also states through the Prophet that say to this community in Medina that we believe in everything revealed unto us and everything revealed before us unto you. That just shows that knowledge has to be earned in its entirety. Saying that I am a Muslim or I am a Christian, I am a Hindu, I am a Jew, I am a Buddhist is shortchanging ourselves. And it's our failure of finding the truth as it is within itself and the truth that belongs to us, our heritage as human beings. As far as our story is concerned, from Adam till now, everything produced within the ambit of humanity belongs to each one of us equally. If there was any difference, then there would be difference at the level of our DNA or at the level of our humanity. But if we cannot find a difference at the level of our humanity, then at the level of what we have contributed, we should not be finding any difference. Instead, we should be saying that I have a portion of the story. Humanity has other portions of the story. The whole story is mine. I need to piece it all together, be filled with appreciation of human knowledge and whatever humanity has contributed in the forms of scriptures and their own tales. As if Quran was saying that only by understanding previous scriptures and whatever other communities have contributed will you arrive at an understanding of what you yourself are. It's very difficult for us to look at the Quran and try and understand what is the human genesis accurately. But when we put the Torah and the Gospel alongside the Quran and read them together, we get a more clearer picture of our origin. A lot of the ambiguities or the subtle gestures in the Quran find elaborations within the previous scriptures. And if we can broaden even further and look at the Hindu scriptures and the Buddhist scriptures, we will find the gems of knowledge there, which then assist us in putting the whole story together. Our problem right now is that we really and truly do not understand what is our origin, our end, our purpose, and how we ought to be. Because we have fragments of these stories. And we have become so conceited and arrogant that we are saying whatever we have is the absolute truth. It's like two contending scientific theories. one of general relativity of Einstein and the other one of the quantum physics. When they stand opposed to each other, they defeat the whole human surge in understanding of cosmology and the cosmos and the physical nature of this world. But when they merge together, they both say, yes, the things that were unexplained on this side are explained here, and the things that cannot be accounted for here are accounted there, and maybe we need a broader model that accommodates both these theories. This is our story. I will bring Rumi to mind. Allah bless his soul. He said an animal was brought from India and placed in a dark room. Several people were sent in there to examine the animal with a little candle with each one holding a little candle in their hands. One felt the leg of this object and he said it's a pillar. Another one, the nose, and he said it's a trunk. And a third one, the tail, and said it's a hand fan. What Rumi says here is that if they had brought their lights together, they would have seen, in fact, it's an elephant. But I would like to highlight another problem that comes through here. That the person who feels that it is a pillar will become fixated on his own understanding, to the extent that he will become arrogant and say that the person who is saying it's a hand fan or a broom is wrong and condemned. This is what these fragmented pieces of knowledge are doing to us, with this air of arrogance that we have and the inability of us to open up. And the one who says it's a hand fan or a broom is ready to curse and denounce and even kill the person who says it's otherwise. If all of them had an attitude of no finality, that what I know seems to be true to me, to my extent, but that does not mean at the exclusion of the truth of the other person who has seen it from his perspective. If we had this notion that Rumi says, bring our candles together and see how they all fit in together, or at least if we had the attitude of giving no finality to what we know and are open to further knowledge. This is where humanity belongs, and this is what the Quran has been saying all along. We believe in what has been revealed unto us, and we believe in whatever has been revealed unto you. Your God and our God is one God. Think about it, how phenomenal that statement is. It actually imposes upon a Muslim to read the previous scriptures. If you've already stated we believe in whatever has been revealed unto you, then go and read it. What is it that you believe, that you subscribe to? The amazing thing here is that when we look at humanity and the contribution of humanity, we find them all the same in the salient features. They all agree to universal human values and morality, to the extent that every one of them will scrounge for verses from their scriptures to say, yes, look, the Quran has this, the Bible has this, the Torah has this, the Upanishads have this, or the Gita has this, or the Buddhist scriptures have this, that human life is sacred. The moral value was derived by the human mind and human intuition. But then, because we know it's right, we find a verse to then validate it from our religious perspective. That's the amazing thing. We all say the same thing as far as human values are concerned. Similarly, when it comes to spiritual alignment with a higher order, all of them are one and the same. If we can see this sameness spread across humanity, whether they belong to a faith tradition or otherwise, does that not show that human contribution at the intellectual level is one contribution? If at the moral level we are the same and spiritual level we are the same. So we need to study things. We need to study the heavens above, the nature that accompanies us, in order to bring about that ripened, wholesome attitude within us, so we begin to lead this journey in a substantive, meaningful way. Similarly, we need to look at what other cultures, religions, scriptures have contributed in relation to the origin of mankind. what went on before that, the purpose for which we were created, and the end to which we are swiftly advancing. If we can get those pieces of knowledge put together, humanity will become one family. It will strive to achieve its goal of reaching the fullness of its potential. It will become godly within an instance, in the name of God, or in the name of the cosmic consciousness, or in the name of nature, whatever. But that's the first step we need to take. And then, of course, after that, the hope is that we find that beautiful personal relationship with a personal God, as the Abrahamic scriptures state. I end here with this, that this crisis of COVID offers us a great opportunity, gives us time to reflect, to step back, to turn on those television channels, the National Geographic, or go on to the material that is available that talks about the beginnings of the physical universe, or the relativity of time. Intrigue the minds. See the world that is beyond us. Be filled with appreciation. Let the majesty of God dawn upon the hearts. Let the hearts melt away in awe of the majesty of God. At the same time, see the subtleties that surround us in this world. And let the soul melt away gently in the love of the beloved. Let us look at one and all, learn from each other, and begin to see that beyond features, beyond cultures, beyond religion, there is singularity of the beauty of God prevalent upon one and all, in which no one is absolutely right and no one is absolutely wrong. All have something to add and to give. And the only way forward is for humanity to share its knowledge and its experience. Let us pray Surah Fatiha for all the poor souls that we have lost, and for the cure of all those who are unwell, and for our well-being. Al-Fatiha. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Wal asr innal insana lafi khusr illa alladhina amanu wa amilu salihat wa tawasaw bil haqq wa tawasaw bis sabr. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وآله الطيبين الطاهرين أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Just a couple of things. During the COVID crisis, we have seen that Alhamdulillah, humanity has matured. We are seeing that people have left behind their biases and have begun to contribute to the survival of humanity and have begun to take care of each other. I will say this is the emergence of the godly soul from within humanity, something that religion was supposed to do all along, to liberate us from the clutches of human frailties and our biases and prejudices and bigotries. But unfortunately, we ourselves convoluted our religions, and then they were used to reinforce our pre-existing likes and dislikes. But this virus has managed to unlock the real godly light that was within us, and that was the purpose of God in the first place. But in this respect, there are one or two things that we still find. Looking at the situation of India and seeing how the Muslims are being blamed for the spread of COVID is totally unjustified. As our Hindu brothers themselves write about it, that the Hindus have had many gatherings But they focused in on a gathering that the Muslims had, and now they're blaming them for the spread of the virus there, which is totally unjust. And the other thing is that we find these reports that there is segregation between Muslim and non-Muslim patients within hospitals. Again, we find that the Muslims are not allowed to transact and continue business as usual in areas where others are allowed to. All I can say here is that I am not talking about the Hindu should do this and the Muslim should do this. I'm saying no. At this point in time, I think all heads of religions and preachers should see themselves beyond religion and transcend religious limitations and biases. What I'm saying here is that the one who is a Hindu and the one who is a Muslim, analyze them. The one who was a Muslim took birth in a Muslim household and has not been a Muslim by choice. Similar is the case with the Hindu. Then look at them, their culture is the same, their language is the same, their features are the same, their garments are the same. That should be enough to instill within them this sense of care for each other and love for each other. And the age-old differences that they've had between Muslim and Hindu rivalries, they should finally grow up and put them to one side. And to say this is less than befitting humanity, more than the COVID virus, the greater plague is these feuds and fights, likes and dislikes, hatreds and biases that they have in the name of religion. These biases are the true plagues of the soul. At least the COVID destroys the body but awakens the soul. But this disease destroys the very human's humanity. When the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and indeed his noble brothers, the blessed prophets before him, when they came, they never preached a message in which they favored one group over another. They said, you are from a single soul, one humanity. You are all siblings. There is no difference amongst you. You are all one. There is goodness inside you. You have a greater belonging. There is a nobler expectation from you. Why are you at the pits of existence? You belong to the loftiest summits of human existence. Arrive there. So it's not a question of condemning and cursing the Hindu or condemning and cursing the Muslim. It's a question of us gently reminding one and all that, look, this is below us and beneath us. We need to be well above this. I truly hope that this virus will mark a decisive point in human history and leave its indelible mark upon us and the way we think beyond this point. That we come out more enlightened, more broader, more wholesome, and more godly, and begin to lead substantive lives as a human family, contributing to the well-being of the whole family and gaining from each other. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وآله الطيبين الطاهرين. اللهم صل وسلم على محمد المصطفى وعلى علي المرتضى وعلى فاطمة الزهراء وعلى الحسن المجتبى والحسين الشهيد بكربلاء وعلى علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي وحجة الله بن الحسن القائم المهدي المنتظر. اللهم عجل فرجه وسهل مخرجه واجعلنا من أنصاره وأعوانه والمستشهدين بين يديك. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد.